Hei. Takk for det så det vet du sitt og blessete. Jeg taler ensku, jeg taler thysku og smal rusnesku. I dag jeg taler smal islensku. Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. From here in Westfjords of Iceland. My goal, learn Icelandic in 1 week. One of the hardest languages in the world. The reason why I wanted to learn it, I don't know, there's so many reasons. But the first thing I need to mention, since it's so at the beginning, is which ones I already know. The only words that I know in Icelandic, literally only two. The first one is takk, which is thanks. Takk fyrir, I think. It means like thank you. And then the other one that I know is skål. Skål I think is actually Norwegian, but that's cheers. So I think that's all you really need to know in any language really, but just cheers and hello. But I don't even know how to say goodbye. I don't know how to say, nice to meet you, any of this kind of stuff. But throughout this course, throughout this week, we're gonna get all the way up to A1. And so tonight is Sunday, and we have our first get together, just gonna meet the professor, and then meet the other people in the class, and every day. Full schedule, full schedule, full schedule. Now, you guys may be wondering, why would you learn the Icelandic language? It's a good question. It's a very good question. There's a lot of random kind of answers. Before I mention that though, I need to mention Icelandic hot dogs. They truly are the best hot dogs in the world. Trust me, I've had hot dogs on almost every country on the planet. No, these ones are the best. With remoulade, brown mustard, fried onions, and regular onions. And then usually the hot dog is made itself out of like lamb meat. Just very tasty. One thing that's really interesting, I want you guys to think about with the Icelandic language is that it's never changed. It's actually been very, they're very conservative about keeping their language, which is kind of amazing because the language is like 800, 1,000, 1,200 years old or so, and the last change has properly been like 800 years ago. And so it's so conservative to the fact that many kids can walk into a museum, they can take the old manuscripts from ancient times, and kids can read the manuscript like it's no problem. It's like reading like a kid's book, because it's exactly the same. It's never changed. And something that's also really interesting about this kind of idea is that even like when the word like pizza came, pizza, anywhere you're from, India, United States, Germany, whatever, we all spell it the same way, pizza. And this was a really big issue to the Icelandic people because pizza, the letter Z itself, doesn't exist in the Icelandic language. There's 32 letters, but Z is not one of them. And so it actually went all the way up to the Icelandic Parliament. And back in 1973, I believe it was, the Icelandic Parliament decided, okay, we're not going to use the Z anymore. We're going to write pizza with P-I-T-S-A. Pizza is how you spell pizza in Icelandic. Which is like, it's really amazing that like the parliament would go all the way to that degree to keep their language the same way it is. It's a really fascinating idea. So the recap of the first day is that it's brushing up on basically an entirely new vocabulary. For instance, these ones, they look like this. It's the thun, and they're basically just different versions of th. So there's like thor and isafjot, like this. Different versions of a hard T or a soft T. So those ones are pretty easy to learn. Today's main work was pronunciation. Like these are all just like a whole bunch of names. So like Anna, Ari, Asa, Azi, Bara Bjorn. Bjorn means bear. Gudmundur. Gudmundur. Gud means God. Eilinga. Veldis, Vestri, and so forth, like this. But even like, come to the restaurant, get some pizza. This is what it says. I'll give you guys a chance. It says, Gjötu það sem þú trú.
So it was in 5 minutes.
Okay. All right, no problem. Thank you. Takk fyrir. Okay, I guess we're closing.
Hefði nú lesturinn og byggði ykkur vel að njóta. Nú, það upphaf á sögu þessari að Hákon konung og aðstæðandur í neðum í Noregi. Var þetta ofur hans dögum, þokkis maðurinn sem
Today finishes day 2, and there's only like 2 people moving around in town. It's just people, one company that's apparently repainting everything in town. So it's just complete dead silence, except for just this. It's, as you can see, about 10:30 or so. So the sun is setting. You can see it on top of the fjord. And yeah, it's a nice day. For this second day, what we learned, really the most important thing was that beside the classes in the morning, which the pronunciation is getting so much easier, but really looking at things and actually feeling comfortable, like actually understanding it, like reading it and I can understand exactly what it says. But the idea of putting 2 and 2 together. As well today then, we went out into the villages to go see a play of one of the sagas. And really, really beautiful, quaint area out in Thingari. Thingari is out that way-ish. 3 fjords over is what we say, 3 fjords. There's also a really nice tunnel here. It's a one-way tunnel. It's really interesting. A one-way tunnel. And there's also an intersection in the middle of the tunnel. It goes about 6 kilometers through a mountain. It's brilliant. Oh, look at this view. Anyway, I'm going to keep studying, and then more class tomorrow morning. So, good night. Höfuðborgin heter Peking og fólk talar kínversku. That is clearly Kína. 2. Jeg russiska og heiti Putin. He is Russian. He is from Rusland. Ja. Jeg skotsk. He is Scottish. Han fra Finland og taler finsku. Hun taler kroatsku. She is Croatian. Han heter Emmanuel Macron og taler fransku. He is named Emmanuel Macron and speaks French. Hun taler dansku. She speaks Danish. Hun heter Angela og kansleri. Her name is Angela and she is the kansleri, the chancellor. Hun drottning og i Buckingham Hall. She lives in Buckingham, it means like a place of Buckingham Palace. Han nordskur? Is he Norwegian? Saddam taler arabisku. That is Iraq. End of day 3, and things are getting much better. I'm getting more comfortable with being able to say, ooh, koshka, cat. I'm getting much more familiar with saying words that are like thu, the, and also words like kve. And so I see funny small things like this, and I can read it, kind of, where it says kve he nea stoyunaskrein, which means something along the lines of like, have you used, or what have you used basically this. Something like this. So I'm starting to see things. I'm able to read things much better, which is a really, really good sign. But then also today was the first day where we started putting together the words with adjectives and putting together sentences. So it's like, now I know what the bike looks like, I know what the road kind of looks like, and now I can kind of start putting things together to kind of start clawing and kind of make my way through. So these are really, really good signs. So, all right.
heroes or total villains, and it just depended on what it was they were doing.
Og virðingarleysi gagnvart öllu sem tengist
I didn't say start. Give it. Let me start. One throw.
A windy day, a windy night, but the end of day number 4. Okay, so for today, there's a little bit more random things, but learning again more about Icelandic culture. The main things, we're watching a movie about the very depressing nature of living here, especially in the wintertime, because as beautiful as these mountains are, the ones all around us, they're subject to snöflóð, which is literally snow flood, which means avalanche. Every Icelandic word, it actually makes so much sense. If you break it down, then like tölvu post for email, computer mail. Like, yeah, makes sense. And that's why Icelandic is famous for its conservative kind of nature, because they don't have to keep creating a whole bunch of new words. Like, they just put things together, things that make sense. We had lectures today then, talking about essentially the past, the Viking past, but then how you can learn so much just from looking at the words. And then some lessons on combat, the traditional fighting, the Viking or Icelandic fighting. And so I was fighting with the Canadian guy. He's very nice. He's from Quebec City, Quebec. And because we're both from the United States and Canada, we get to fight over stupid things. And so I whispered in his ear something bad about Canadian politicians, and then as you see in the video, he yelled in my face that we won the War of 1812, and then slammed me to the ground. It's funny though, because it's fighting in the most Canadian way. Wow, it's a windy day today. Anyway, so that's gonna wrap it up for day 4. Tomorrow is the last day, very sadly, because I've been really enjoying it. It's the end of the last day, and I've learned a lot of words to describe what today is like. The words might be that today it's I could also say that it is regning, which I think is a beautiful word. It describes so much. But let me get inside and I can actually explain what I learned throughout this week. I want to show you guys my my little Icelandic book of all of my notes. I'm a very keen note taker, but throughout the week, these are all the different ways that I categorized everything, from all the words about household, places, time, professions, words about weather, how to ask questions. Some things that are difficult about Icelandic, which are definitely different than English, are that the endings, more or less, of the words keep changing. And so you have to know all of the different ways. Also, this is a very good word for you guys to know, theta. Theta is, it just means like this. So you can go to a store and say theta. But like I said, all the miscellaneous words, movements, these are words about travel. And so beside all of these then in the end of the book, then I kept, my way of practicing is that I like to write short stories. It's kind of like a good way to practice writing, just very basic. And so like this story, for example, let me read it to you. It's just, as my teacher would say, that you can lie as much as you want, as long as you lie in Icelandic. And so in this story, I'm saying, Mér liker bjór, I like beer. Hann lúflingur, It is tasty. Jeg vil bjør núna. I will drink beer now. Jeg ætla at drikke i kvöld. I want to drink this afternoon. Jeg vil drikke after i morgen. I want to drink in the morning. Jeg kan at drikke mange bjørne. I can drink many beers. Jeg have ekki snjálfjenireth. So that says, I have no sjálfjenireth, which is an Icelandic word. Again, all the words are created by like mixing piece. So this word literally means self-controlled vehicle, or like self-controlled sled. A self-controlled sled is another word for a car. Góðan daginn.
Góðan daginn.
Gaman að sjá þig aftur.
Sömuleiðis.
Get ég fengið fossabotn?
Já, stólana?
Ja, stolen, ja. Fossabotn? Fossabotn means waterfall water. Takk fyrir.
Takk.
Hej. Tack för det så det virtu site och blessita. Välkommen var stoð. Jag heter Brayden och idag är Westfjords of Iceland. Fattiga med storm fjortum. Jag heter Brayden och min isländsku heter Björn. Björn, það fyrir bear. Ja. Och ekki Björn. Isländsku Björn. Jag är från Bandaríkjunum. En isländsku vinum min Panama. Jag talar ensku, jag talar þýsku och smal rusnesku. Idag jag talar smal isländsku. Jag vill tala isländsku. Isländsku är erfit tungomal och ekki flötkith tungomal. Efter erfit och ekki flötkith. Isländska það eru mange regulum att fe och smal undanskniga. Isländska är erfit detta tungomal i heima. Islandsku är skemmtilig orð. Eins och Eyjafjallajökull. Eyja means island, fjalla means mountain, and jökull means glacier. So Eyjafjallajökull, Oswald. Now, it's a fair question to ask, and why did you learn Icelandic? Because it is a very weird language. There's only about 366,000 speakers in the world. Very small group, maybe 400,000 tops. And so it's not really a practical language. And also almost every Icelander I've ever met speaks English. And so, why'd you learn it? I learned it so that every time I keep coming back here, because I come back to this country all the time, that you have a better experience. It's also very important to speak local language to the local people. It's kind of stupid to force them to speak English all the time. You should be able to say "Góðan daginn." You should be able to say "good day" to somebody in their language. It's very important. And also, I learned it so that I can understand, when I'm listening to Icelandic Christmas music, I can understand when they say to bring the bread, things like this. And I learned it for myself. I didn't learn it for practicality. I learned it because I think it's a fun, interesting language. It's a good language to learn. And, so now every time I come back, now I can understand things a little bit better. Þetta blóm, þetta netto, þetta hotel, þetta fullrum, fjall, mountain, þetta Putrin, the puddle, but learning just different small words, because now you see it on the street sign and you understand what it means. I think that's a good thing. And it's a good thing just to be curious. It's a good thing to try and learn new things, And yeah, there's the day that you stop learning is the day that you start dying. So never forget that. Okay, until then, síðast, herwomst. You can actually, that's a good word for you to learn. Just repeat after me. Síðast, síðast, síðast. It means see you in Icelandic. Okay, see you guys later. Síðast.